All right, hello and welcome back to Blank Thought. You get to listen to me talk some more and talk again. And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going and changing strings on my acoustic guitar. It's been probably a month and a half or 2 months. It's been way too long. It's needed. These are dead. Anyway, while I do that, I guess I'm going to talk about a few other things. I'm just going to go at it, no script. We'll see what happens. Welcome. This is my acoustic guitar. It's an Epiphone EJ200. It is an electric acoustic originally, but the electronics in it went out. So, yeah. I actually gutted the electronics completely, and then I put in this Seymour Duncan Woody pickup, just so I have something on board. One interesting thing, so it had like two pickups on it originally, Nano Mag and Nano something else or whatever, and it had two guitar cable jacks right there. That was the usual one that I would go into, and since I always went into that one, I didn't want to mess with this. I just I took this Seymour Duncan Woody pickup and I wired it into this one here. So all I need now is just a guitar cable instead of having this, what was it? It was probably like a 10-foot cable coming out of it. Anyway, yeah, today, as you can see, I'm changing out my strings. I actually forgot to go and retrieve my strings from the room back there, so I'll probably do that here in a little bit. I don't know how other people do it. I don't know if the way that I do it is right, is wrong. I don't know anything. But it's never done me any wrong. It's never done me any wrong. So, this is just the way I do it. First thing, I just loosen up all the strings. Get them nice like that. A lot of people say don't do this. You want to keep tension on it at all times, so change them one at a time. I don't do that. And then I just take some wire snips and go at it one at a time, snipping them all. Geez, it really needed it too. These things are nasty, full of like grime from my fingers. Here's another deal. These are also pretty good, these little wire snips, to kind of get underneath that little peg there and just help pry it up a little bit. So when you get in there, you get good pressure and all that such. Anyway, I think the peg winder, this deal, I think that's maybe the use of that, but last time I tried it, I can't get underneath it. This has a sharper, what do you call it? A sharper edge, and it's still V-shaped and all that such. Only issue with this is that it's going to mar up your pegs, but you know, I'm not too worried about that. And then what I'll do is just take them out, you know. God, I'm probably gonna have to edit the hell out of this video, or it's gonna be boring. The good stuff comes whenever. Why is that one so stiff? The good stuff comes when you're putting it all back together. These are the original pegs too, by the way. I feel like at some point you're just gonna lose your pegs. I never have. Well, luckily, just toss them to the side. You've already. There it is. Just take them out. I like to wrap them up a little bit and make them a little more compact so they're not stringing around and poking me in the face. Another thing, why I snip them is so that it's a lot easier to actually take off the peg. And all you got to do is unwrap and bam, unwrap and pull, unwrap and pull. unwrap, and pull. Unwrap and pull. Anyway, so I guess I'm not going to just describe every little thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about the story of the past couple months here. So in an earlier video, I mentioned that I was helping out a band by playing bass guitar for them. And I didn't know this was going to happen, but it's something that happens, it's something that happens. The band imploded. While I've got the strings off, always a good time to just kind of clean your guitar, I've got 2 rags for that, actually. I give it a light dusting. I don't know if that's right. I feel like a lot of people are probably screaming at me right now for doing that. But anyway, give it a light dusting and then just give it a nice wipe down. Had, dust, grime, and dirt and sweat and all kinds of things all over it. Anyway, so yeah, the band kind of imploded. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty details of it. It wasn't anything too nefarious or too bad. But yeah, you could say that it was a difference in personalities, and it all just came to a head one night between the main members. And again, I knew that I wasn't a main member. Oh yeah, that's looking nice. I knew I wasn't a main member. I was there to help. One way you can, in my opinion, tell if you're a main member or not is, are you constantly, are you going out? Are you friends with these people? Are you hanging out? Which I did pretty often. But it was more I go out and I find people to hang out with. And I hang out with people just as I go. I don't really get calls, but then again, I don't really call people either. I don't know. I'm weird like that. I probably need to work on that, work on being a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and take this out because it always falls out. Try to remember, at least in this case, the high side of the bridge is the lower string. I always, this always falls out and I forget, but you can also tell. You can tell because when you look at it right there, you can see a smaller divot. I don't know, is that helping? Anyway, smaller divot on this side, larger divot on this side where the larger string is. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that out so I don't lose it. Let's continue just kind of cleaning up. Give it another little spritz down here. Anyway, so the band kind of imploded. You could say difference in personalities. That was also kind of why I was very adamant about just being a bass player helping out, I just wanted to fill a role. I didn't want to come in with, I really didn't want to come in with any sort of suggestions on covers or suggestions on what to play or how to play it or what to sound like or anything like that. You don't really want to do that when you're first going into something, especially when it's not your specific project with your best friends or something like that. They're asking something of you, right? They're asking you, for me, they were asking me if I could fill a role. And that role that they wanted me to fill was a bass player. So I was just going to fill that role and be very simple about the whole deal and just do that. Because I wanted them to invite me back. I didn't want to be a headstrong character. I wanted them to invite me back, and I wanted to enjoy playing with these guys and just kind of, being in a band again, instead of like I do, always playing music by myself, writing songs by myself and all that such. I wanted to actually just be in a band again. I also like to give everything a good wipe down, get some of those fingerprints off there. Maybe we're not going for Smithsonian clean here, but take some pride in your instrument, I would say. So a funny little deal you might see up here, I know I'm going back and forth, but a funny thing that you might see up here is this. This is gaffer's tape. There's a big hole right there where the electronics were. And those electronics aren't there anymore. The electronics kind of took a crap on me. So I said, you know what? This guitar is not a, how would you say? It's not a sacred instrument, you know. I mean, it's not like it's a Stradivarius violin, you know. It's So what I did was I just decided to take out the electronics, and I didn't know what to do with the hole that was left over. I had some gaffer's tape, so I just put some gaffer's tape over it. Do I think that is the most amazing thing? No. In fact, there are some things that I don't like about it. I mean, structurally speaking, there's a hole there, right? So structurally speaking, you probably have an issue. Having a hole there in gaffer's tape, I mean, are we going to have an issue with tone? You know, things like that. When the gaffer's tape wasn't there, I thought it was interesting because I think it did actually project some of the sound. Let's see. I think it did project some of the sound forward onto me, but yeah. So that's just the way that was. I felt like it was like coming up out of the second sound hole, which there's that. But thing is I didn't want to get anything. I definitely didn't want anything wet getting in there, even if it's just simple like sweat dripping, like one drop or anything. I didn't want that. I was like, we're not doing that. We're just simply not going to do that. So anyway, coming back, that's what I do. This is what I do. I'd like to, since I'm talking, I'm taking a little extra time than I usually would, but I like to take some time, kind of make the guitar breathe again, be nice. Try to, it's nice and clean now. It's presentable. Let me go grab the strings and I'll be right back. All right, we're back here. So back when I was first playing and changing my own strings on the acoustic, when I was first learning how to play guitar and all that such, I would use Ernie Ball Earthwood strings. And the main reason I used Ernie Ball Earthwood strings is because I also used Ernie Ball Slinkies for my electric. And the Ernie Ball Slinkies were doing just fine. I still like them. To this day, I use just the green pack Ernie Ball Slinky. It's as simple as it gets, the most basic string there is. It's fine. It's perfect. It does what it needs to do. I love it. But when it came to acoustic strings, they didn't really do what I wanted them to do. They sounded great out of the package, They sounded just great out of the package. But after a day or two, they just didn't do the job anymore. They became dead. Maybe I was playing a lot more back then too. But anyway, Yeah, I don't feel like they lasted. It's the very next string that I chose were these. They're D'Addario, what do they call them? D'Addario phosphor bronze strings. Anyway, they're a great acoustic string. I think that they sound great out of the package, and I think that they sound great for a while afterwards. I mean, they last. The last ones I had on here were on here for way too long, so they were very dead. Not a lot of volume. That aside, the one downside to this guitar, besides the electronics, I would really give it, is that the volume of the guitar, it doesn't project like I would like it to, you know? Anyway, I'm not working with a lot of space. I'm being very disorganized, as I usually am. Anyway, so going back, yeah, get yourself some D'Addarios. Honestly, at least for a beginner guitar string, that's great. These work great. These work absolutely great. Whenever I'm putting my strings into, I like to take it kind of as far up this, what do we call them, peg, as I can, well enough that I can get it in there. And then what I do is I just stuff it in there really nicely. But I always try to pull the string up a little bit. Because if you put it down in there too far, you get too much string into the hole. When you start to tighten it over here on the tuning peg, you're gonna have all this slack that you weren't really calculating for. And I think that's very important. Oh, looks like it's time to put this in. All right, bridge in. Let's go. Next thing I do, I like to also face the eye hole of the tuning peg down the neck. Phew. And what I do is I stick it right in. I pull it taut. Don't worry. If you're screaming at the camera right now, don't worry. We're not done yet. After I pull it taut, this method has not done me wrong. And it doesn't take all this extra bending it around everything. It's simple. Pull it taut. On the the sixth string, I take it from the nut, take my finger on the nut, and I pull it down a fret. One whole fret. That's how I measure it. And then I hold it down. I like to put a thumb on the nut and then kind of hold this in place and down. So you get a nice wrap, a nice pretty looking wrap. And what'll happen is you pull that around. I'll bend that up out of the way. And you just do this. You'll get a good 2.5 to 3 wraps out of that. We're making tone right there. You got a nice wrap here. You don't have too much going on. It's not like bundled up like a ball of yarn. And you've got plenty of wrap so that it doesn't drop out of tune either. 1 fret. That's how I measure this out. Of course, again, we're going off of Epiphone scale. If you're on a Fender scale of some sort, maybe it's a little different, but I'm sure it's not that different, okay? And I do the exact same thing, almost. I do the exact same thing on the A string, or the 5th string, whatever you want to call it, right? Pull it right through. All right. So when I get to another spot, I'll talk about that one. So yeah, the band thing kind of imploded. And it's not that I was expecting it to necessarily, but I wasn't expecting it to stick around either. Like, I was just there. If they needed me, call on me. You know what I mean? Call on me if you need me. I was happy to be there, happy to do it. One night, some things were done. Some things were said. Very light. It wasn't that bad. It sounds bad because I'm trying to be vague, but that's only because it's not really my story to tell too much. That's all. It's not that bad. But anywho, so yeah, the band imploded. So be it. The drummer of that band, I think he said it best, actually. Let me make sure I'm getting these right. That one's thicker than that one, but D, yeah. So the drummer of the band said it best, I thought. He said, bands come and they go. And they do. That they do. If there's anything I can say is bands they crop up like weeds and then they mow themselves down. That sounded bad. All right, D string, 1 fret. About a quarter? Sure, about a quarter. That's about right. I think 1 1/4. 1 1/4. That looks good. And then you just go at it, baby. Anyway, so yeah, that's the end of that. For the longest time, I wanted to form my own band. I've been writing songs for quite a while now. I used to be in a band, but as I just said, they come and they go. And yeah, I've been writing my own songs, kind of hoping at some point that I can get somebody to help me play them. I want to play them live. I think the reason I want to play them live is because I actually feel like the songs that I really like spend a lot of time with would be really cool as far as like in a live scenario. I'm missing one. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're on the G string. All right, also known as the 3rd string. But so yeah, we're not doing the band thing right now. I don't have I guess you could say I don't really have the social capacity right now to really like give other personalities their due. Because other personalities, they deserve their due. 2 things, quick tip. You can start on the high E string and work your way up, and it'll be a lot easier up here. I just don't do that because I forget. 1 1/2. I'm going 1 1/2. Dragging it back 1 1/2 on the G string there. Makes it, again, it gives you enough wrap. Put my fingers like this, makes it look pretty. Yeah. So yeah, I want to do that. What I've decided to do at this point is just write and record my own stuff in my space, the way that I can do it, the way that I enjoy do it. Instead of trying to convince people to like work with me, instead of trying to convince people to come here and like do this and do that, I'm just gonna do what I can on my own. And when the time comes, maybe somebody will approach me and say, hey, do you want to do something and I could be your drummer? And I'm going to say, yes, please. Now, there's the other thing. I've actually had a few names come my way. Decent people. But you also, I don't know, you got to ask yourself, can I hang out with this person for days upon days, hours upon hours, and do, a project? There's a lot that goes into that, And I was spoiled, to tell the truth. I got very lucky. My first band, we met in a music store, and we both enjoyed the same music. Like he was wearing a Pink Floyd shirt, and he asked me what music I like, and I was like, that right there. About 1 2/3, 1 3/4, dragging it back there. Anyway, and so, yeah, it was just, and then I was a very shy person, so I don't know how I did this, but I got his number, he invited me over, and I went to his place, and we jammed, him and 2 other guys, and it just kind of went from there, and the story unfolded. Maybe I'll tell some more of the story as it goes, but let's keep it to pertaining to the general idea, simple idea here. It just kind of happened very naturally, and it was very, very, I don't know. We were like really. We ended up being really good friends, like real easy, quick and easy, which is insane. Like, I don't think we realized at that point especially just how lucky we were to have all found each other at this time in our lives. Because now, like, as I've looked for musicians or bandmates, I guess, not really musicians as much as bandmates, it's a little bit of a difference. You just don't really realize, I didn't realize how lucky we were that we all got along so well. Because it can be very difficult. And one of the guys, his name's Justin, he's been telling me stories about how he's been trying to, about 1 3/4, 1.5 is good on the E string too. He's been trying to, jam with some people, and it all turned into this weird business thing, and it wasn't like friends just being friends and jamming out. The passion for us is in the music. We know that we're not the best players. We know that we're not the best musician, songwriter, whatever. But we know we love it, and we don't want to stop doing it. And that's our baseline. That's just the baseline and why we went along so well. So when you get in with other people, sometimes what will happen is they'll get really into all the stuff, and then they'll want to play shows. And don't get me wrong, I love playing shows. And what will happen is now they want to be somebody, and they want to be someone around town, and they want to do this, and they want to do that, and there's all these, and it piles on and piles on. It's like, now, I'm not saying that I was ever a celebrity, but to this day, I do have a few people every now and then be like, hey, weren't you that guy in that band for a little while? And I was like, yeah, we were. Y'all were good, man. And that is so nice. That is so amazing. But I can now tell you that that's not necessarily where I want to be, where I want to go. It's not the fame portion of it or anything like that. I can tell you with certainty that it's just I want to do this, and yes, I also want to impress people. But anyway, last little bit here, almost the last little bit. Where did it go? There we go. I always trim. So getting back to the point there, we were very lucky we found each other. We were all really great friends and all that such. And now that I'm doing my own music, really what I'm getting down to is I'm just going to write and record my stuff. And if I can find some people that want to jam with me and want to have a good time, I would love to do that. Let's do it. Honestly, I would absolutely love to do that. And if we, but we have to be on a similar wavelength. One of the things about being in a band is, and again, with different personalities, and it depends on who you're talking to. A lot of people, I'll speak up for myself here. I do enjoy a drink every now and then, and I do enjoy having a drink maybe at band practice or having a drink while I'm doing my music and things like that. And the thing is to me, that's fun time. That's the thing I like to do, and I like to kick back. I like to relax and unwind, and then just dig into the guitar and make some nasty sounds. Then it comes to being in a band. When you're in a band, something like that for myself, I would have to step back and say, listen, I can have maybe a few here, there, da-da-da-da-da. But if we're practicing a song and we're trying to get something down and we're trying to really get together really come together musically, maybe put that to the side, at least for a little while. Put it to the side while you're working on the music. And what would happen back then especially in our earlier days when I was in the band. I never really noticed it, but I can say this for sure, that I notice it now. Is we'll say smoking some stuff. People would come back and they would be in a different vibe. I mean, working on one thing, working on another. There's a stigma that goes along with music. I think music more especially than any other art form, that you have to be inebriated. You have to be you have to have a rough upbringing to write a good song, and you have to be inebriated while you're doing it because it's rock and roll or something like that, which, by the way, I'm here to say is all bullshit. That's all bullshit. Write your songs. I don't care who you are. You could have the easiest life in the world. Write your songs. All right? And frankly speaking, try to be yourself, whatever that is. But any sort of substance coming into play that's not your song. Is it fun sometimes to have a few drinks while you're writing your song, and doing this, that, or the other? Sure. But that's not a musician, in my opinion. That's just an activity to do along with another activity. And sometimes what you have to do is depending on what you want to do with it, if you want to do that, it's fine. But if you want to really hone in the craft, and you really want to hone in on getting the band to be cohesive, please, I would say show up to practice that, and try to at least start the practice sober. I mean, if you're coming in and you're wide-eyed and you can't really keep up. And again, okay, I'm going to go a little bit further too and say playing live. And I've been here. Playing live, I've started a new thing where I play my show sober. Completely sober, because I've seen the difference. For myself, I've seen the difference. I remember there was a one night I played back when I was in the band, and I was stumbling, we'll say, and I think I put on a decent show, an okay show, but I knew that it wasn't that great. And then I played my first ever not my first ever, but I played my first show in a very long time, stone cold sober. And I saw a reaction from the crowd that I had never seen before. They were excited, like way excited. Not just, oh, you did good, man. It was, wow. They were like, I didn't know that you could do that. Like, I didn't know that you could do something like that. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything. I'm just trying to say the difference between going up drunk or otherwise versus and playing live sober. Yes, it's nerve-wracking. I remember that day, because I was up there shaking, literally shaking in a way I had never shook before. I was nervous. In a way I had played plenty of live shows, but this time I was nervous. And I went up there and I did the best I could, and I played stone cold sober, and I hit that shit. I did the best I could, and I could see the difference in the crowd. Of course, a lot of practice went in before that too, so keep that in mind. Don't forget to practice. Anyway, so here we are. This is going to be, oh, that's a long video. Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of editing, chopping. Anyway, so here we are. Might as well give you the last little bit. If you are new to tuning up your guitar or new to changing your strings, it's as simple as that. If you watch this 30-minute or longer video, then you have every little bit. You have every little thing you need to know. Pull the pins out. Well, actually, loosen the strings, cut the strings, pull the pin out, take them off, and then when you put them on, the way that I do it, I pull it taut through the eye hole, and I go from the nut back 1 fret. And then that amount of slack makes the perfect wrap for this 6th string, the E string. And then I do the same thing for the A string. I might go a little bit further for the D string, and then again I go a little bit further for the G string. The G string, I start going about 1.5, 1 1/4, 1.5, about 1.5. And then in the B string, I go 1.5. In the E string, finally 1.5 to 1 3/4, or well, the B string 1 3/4, and the high E string here, 2 whole frets. Why? Because it's a thinner string, and that just makes sense to me. And that's the way that I do it. Now, if you're new to all of this, I do not suggest that's about it. I don't suggest tuning by ear. Now, if you have some experience, you've been doing this for a few years, I do suggest taking the time when you're at home and you're working on your guitar, you're getting it all tuned up and everything. I do suggest tuning it by ear, and this is why. When I started to really practice tuning by ear, get yourself a pitch pipe, have yourself a digital keyboard, and tune it by ear. Why? Because you're training your ear. And if you're just a guitarist, it'll be helpful. It will. But if you're a singer, it'll be even more helpful. So tune it by ear. This time, since we're here on video, I'm going to use a snark tuner. So we're just going to clip that there at the end. But yeah, I really do suggest, I was a little flat. I was about a quarter, halfway between E and E flat. But anyway, I really do suggest tuning by ear because it'll only help you as a musician. It'll only help you in ear training. It's going to be frustrating at first because you're going to do it. And you know what? Check yourself too. Bring out that digital tuner. After you do it, after you tune by ear, bring out the digital tuner and check it. Because if you do that, you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm hearing things this way, I'm hearing things that way. I thought that I was good, but I'm finding out that I'm not. And it's just one way to help yourself. It's just one way to help yourself, become a better musician. And if you can tune by ear, then you can go miles and miles and miles and miles above. I mean, it's so helpful, it really is. Am I hitting this right? Hold on. That's another reason. Sometimes you don't have an electric tuner. That happens. Sometimes you lose the thing because you got 3 guitars, and at first it was on this guitar, then it was on that guitar, then it was in your case, and then you were at a show, and after you're at this show, you You've dropped it, someone's taken it, borrowed it, never gave it back. Any number of 100 things. Okay, we're almost at the end of changing your strings. Almost, but we're not there yet. I just brought everything up to pitch. After I bring everything up to pitch, this is what I do. I take my fingers and my thumb and I just kind of give it a light tug. This is pretty faithful. I've changed my strings like 2 hours before playing live. And after giving it this nice little tug on each string, I go little bend, little bend, little bend, little bend, little bend, you know. After I do that, I usually, it stays pretty well. Throughout the show, it will drop. That's just the way it is. But you have brand new strings, and they're decent. And after a song, after your first song especially, I would say. After your first song, especially if it's like an 8-minute song, hi guys, I'm one of those, or medley, retune. Just take the time, and then, you know, check your tuning throughout the show, because, you know, at the end of the day, yes, it might take the show from one thing and kind of, look, that dropped a whole step. Anyway, yeah, check your tuning throughout the show, because it's important. Nobody wants to hear a song that's way out of tune. And there you go. So that's about it. I don't know exactly where I'm going to be editing all of this, or what it's going to look like. Oh, maybe I should have switched cameras. Oh well, y'all got to see me look funny. So there it is. That is the thing. Can you hear this? Oh, I can hear it. Oh, it's because the mic's right here. It's right here, but on the other side. Hold on. That's an interesting sound. Anyway, so yeah. There is my guitar retune, or my guitar restring video. I don't know if you got anything out of that at all. Let's just give it a synopsis. Why not? So, yeah, if you are helping out a band, maybe don't jump into it trying to direct things because you're helping them out. If you're helping out a band, don't put all your eggs in one basket, because that band might not be around in, I don't know, 2 weeks. And then, yeah, that's kind of the end of that story. If you're tuning your guitar, give her a nice cleaning, you know, polish her up, give her a good polish, you know, make her nice and shiny, give her some love. That's all I really got to say. Would y'all, here's a question for you though, since this is very much just rambling into a mic and camera, would y'all like me to give my version of a beginner guitar course? I can't do more than a beginner guitar course. Don't have it in me. I don't know the guitar more than that. So but I can get you to a certain degree to where you're playing songs. Would you like that? And this is the reason I ask. One of the reasons I'm going to do it anyway. And this is why. I have a little niece who's interested in the guitar, and I never have time to go there and show her or teach her or anything like that. And I have various other people, friends, that have asked me to teach them how to play guitar, and I never have time. I'm always working or working on projects. I'm either at the day job or working on projects. It's just, that's the way it is. And I hate that because I want to spend more time with people. I would love that, especially if I were spending more time talking about music and guitar. I would love every minute of that, but I don't. I don't have the time. I have the occasional time to make a video. I mean, excuse me. It's 1:30 in the morning right now. You know, I'm not gonna wake my niece up and say, "Hey, there's a guitar lesson 1:30 in the morning on a Monday." You know, that's ridiculous. Or anyone else for that matter. So, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that. Just doing this has brought me to this. Welcome to Blank Thought. Thank you for sticking around. You got a little bit of an update on a few different things, being the band, a series that's going to be coming up, Intro to Guitar, complete and total beginner intro to guitar. Some of the things that I wish that I was told earlier on. I'll show you those. All right, I'm signing off. This is Blank Thought. My name is Michael Williams. I'm happy that you stuck this out, and we'll see you again soon.